It's happening, it's happening. Oh my goodness, it's happening. In this box right here is the long list for this year's 2024 Booker Prize. And I've been given the very, very special job of telling you what those books are. I feel almost nervous in a way, which I know is ridiculous and dramatic, but I'm so intrigued by which book's going to be in here. And also really this dictates my reading list for the foreseeable future, because I will be reading all of these books. I'm very excited to be involved in the ceremony again. And also, first and foremost, I have made some predictions. I'm going to read them to you. I wrote them down just so you can see. The box is still sealed. There is no way I could possibly know what is in this box. They won't even write it to me. They won't even tell me in advance of the box arriving what is in here, because we have to be so careful of this not leaking that it's never written down. One person has packaged these books up and sent them to me, and now I'm going to tell you. But my predictions for the books that I think might end up on this year's Booker Prize long list. Firstly, Martyr. I absolutely adored this book. Caledonian Road just feels like it has such Booker Prize energy and potential, and I also really liked it. Parade by Rachel Cusk. Long Island is the sequel to Brooklyn. I feel like this has a good chance. James, I think, is a book that everyone is talking about and loving. It's a retelling of Huckleberry Finn. And Wandering Stars by Tommy Orange. I haven't yet got around to this one, but I loved There so much that I feel like Tommy Orange has Booker potential and is a really important voice in the literary landscape. So without further ado, let's get into this box. Let's find out who is on the long list for the Booker Prize 2024. I have to sign for the delivery and I missed it yesterday by minutes. I was on my way home from the airport in a car and the Ring doorbell thing told me that the delivery was here. And I was like, no, I'm still in the car. I had a delay. But we got there in the end. This is happening. Oh my goodness. Okay, first of all, I'm seeing one of my predictions. This is Wandering Stars by Tommy Orange. Oh, I'm so pleased for Tommy Orange. This is so wonderful. Wandering Stars tells the unforgettable story of the 3 generations of a Native American community. Epic in scope, masterful in style, it spans almost 2 centuries from the horrors of the Sand Creek Massacre of 1864 and the Carlisle Indian Industrial School, an institution dedicated to the eradication of Native history, culture, and identity. And this book takes us all the way up to the aftermath of the powwow in Oakland, California, which is at the heart of Tommy Orange's extraordinary debut, There! I didn't realize there was crossover. That sounds incredible. It's described as wondrous on the cover, extending a constellation of encounters into past, present, and future, and wondrous in its poetry, sorrow, rage, and love. Wandering Stars confirms Tommy Orange as one of our greatest contemporary writers. As you guys know, I have been shouting about There from the rooftops. I said it's one of my best books of the century so far, and I'm so excited to see Tommy Orange get his flowers with this long list nomination. Oh yay! We're off to a cracking start. The next book is called Creation Lake. Oh, this is by Rachel Kushner. Rachel Kushner has been shortlisted for the Booker Prize before with her book Mars Room, and this is the description of this one. What is it people encounter in their stark and solitary 4 a.m. self? What is inside them? Not politics. There are not politics inside of people. The truth of a person under all the layers and guises, the significance of group and type, the quiet truth, underneath the noise of opinions and beliefs, is a substance that is pure and stubborn and consistent. It is hard, white salt. This salt is the core, the 4 a.m. reality of being. Wow, that sounds amazing. I've seen Rachel Kushner in conversation at a couple of events, and she is just, her brain is moving 100 miles an hour faster than mine could ever be, and I was just completely in awe of her, so that's really exciting. This is Creation Lake by Rachel Kushner. Very excited to read that one. The next book is called Stone Yard Devotional, and it's by Charlotte Wood. Beautiful, strange, and otherworldly, says Paula Hawkins. Addictively entertaining, says Claire Chambers. Burnt out and in need of a retreat, a middle-aged woman leaves Sydney to return to the place she grew up, finding solace in a small religious community hidden away on the stark plains of the Australian outback. But disquiet interrupts this secluded life with 3 visitations. First comes a terrible mouse plague, each day signalling a new battle against the rising infestation. Second is the return of the skeletal remains of a sister who disappeared decades before, presumed murdered. And finally, a troubling visitor plunges the narrator further back into her past. Okay, interesting. That is Stone Yard Devotional. I don't think I've ever read a book set in the Australian outback before, so this is going to be rectifying that immediately. What a cool premise. Okay. Oh, okay, I've seen some Booker Prize buzz about this book. It's called My Friends. It's by Hisham Mata, from the Pulitzer Prize winning Booker Prize shortlisted author of The Return. Khalid and Mustafa meet at university in Edinburgh, two Libyan 18-year-olds expecting to return home after their studies. In a moment of recklessness and courage, they travel to London to join a demonstration in front of the Libyan embassy. When government officials open fire on protesters in broad daylight, both friends are wounded, and their lives forever changed. Over the years that follow, Khalid, Mustafa, and their friend Hossam, who's a writer, are bound together by their shared history. If friendship is a space to inhabit, theirs becomes small and inhospitable when a revolution in Libya forces them to choose between their lives they have created in London and the lives they have left behind. My Friends is an intensely moving novel about three friends living in political exile and the emotional homeland that friendship can provide. I love books that are about platonic love and how platonic friendships can be the great loves of your life. This book sounds incredibly up my street. This feels like a book you could study in school. I can't wait to read it. Okay, this is called Enlightenment. It's by Sarah Perry. I really like that cover. And let's find out a little bit about it. Thomas Hart and Grace Macaulay have lived all their lives in the small Essex town of Aidley. Though separated in age by 3 decades, the pair are kindred spirits, torn between their commitment to religion and their desire to explore the world beyond their small Baptist community. But their friendship is threatened by the arrival of love. Thomas falls for James Bower, who runs the local museum. Together they develop an obsession with the vanished 19-year-old astronomer Maria Varduva, who is said to haunt a nearby manor and may have made startling astronomical discoveries that have never been acknowledged. Okay, there's lots happening here. Meanwhile, Grace meets Nathan, a fellow sixth former who represents a different, wilder kind of life. They are drawn passionately together, but quickly pulled apart, causing Grace into the wider world and far away from Thomas. Over the course of 20 years, by coincidence and design, Thomas and Grace will find their lives brought back into orbit as a devastating story of love and scientific pursuit unfolds and the mysteries of Aidley are revealed. An unforgettable novel of friendship, faith, and astronomy, Enlightenment is Sarah Perry's finest book to date. I recently went to the planetarium at the Griffith Observatory in LA, and it made me just so excited to read more about space, and specifically astronomy, because I don't always love books set in space, but books about people on Earth thinking about space. Now that sounds like something I would really enjoy. So that is Enlightenment. Headshot. Oh my goodness, I bought this in the bookstore 2 weeks ago because I thought it sounded so amazing, and clearly the Booker Prize judges agreed and have longlisted it. Headshot is the story of the 8 best teenage girl boxers in the United States, told over the 2 days of a championship tournament and structured as a series of face-offs. Doesn't that structure sound fascinating? So innovative, so unique. Wow. As the girls' pasts and futures collide, the specific joy and violence of the sport comes to life with electric energy, and a portrait emerges of the desires, envy, perfectionism, madness, and sheer physical pleasure that motivates each of these young women to fight. This is a novel about the radicalness and strangeness of being physically intimate with another human when you are measuring your own body through competition against theirs. What does the intimacy of physical competition feel like? What does it mean to walk through life in the bodies we've been given? And what does it mean to use those bodies with abandon? Already, I think this is an absolutely cracking Booker Prize lineup. There's so much range in terms of themes, in terms of structures, in terms of styles. This is really, really cool. Aha! Okay, another book that I predicted. This is James by Percival Everett. Percival Everett was previously shortlisted for the Booker Prize for his book The Trees, and of course has also recently been celebrated for his novel Erasure, which was turned into the Oscar-nominated movie American Fiction. So it has been A crazy couple of years for Percival Everett. James is a powerful and enthralling novel inspiring us to see Mark Twain's The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn in a wholly new and transformative light. From the shadows of Huck Finn's mischievous spirit, Jim emerges to reclaim his voice, defying the conventions that have contained him and consigned him to the margins. So we're back in 1861 on the Mississippi River with Huck Finn and Jim, or James. With rumours of a brewing war, James must face the burden he carries, the family he is desperate to protect, and the constant lie he must live. And together, the unlikely pair embark on the most dangerous and life-changing odyssey of them all. I'm so thrilled to see this on the long list. This next book is called The Safekeep. It's by Yael van der Wooden, described by Alice Wynne, author of In Memoriam, as surprising, chilling, and electric, and I trust Alice Wynne. I trust Alice Wynne's opinion very, very highly, so if she recommends it, I think I'm going to love it. A house is a precious thing. It's been 15 years since the Second World War, and this rural Dutch province is quiet. Bomb craters have been filled, buildings reconstructed, and the conflict is well and truly over. Alone in her late mother's country home, Isabel lives her life as it should be, led by routine and discipline. But all is upended when her brother Louis delivers his graceless new girlfriend Eva at Isabel's doorstep as a guest, there to stay for the season. Eva is Isabel's antithesis. She sleeps late, wakes late, walks loudly through the house, and touches things she shouldn't. In response, Isabel develops a fury-fueled obsession, and when things start disappearing around the house, a spoon, a knife, a bowl, Isabel's suspicions spiral out of control. In the sweltering heat of summer, Isabel's paranoia gives way to desire, leading to a discovery that unravels all she has ever known. The war might not be well and truly over after all, and neither Eva nor the house are what they seem. Okay. I'm always very intrigued by the home, the domestic home, as a setting. The concept of home, what that can mean to different people, especially when a stranger, an intruder, enters that space. I don't even know where to begin. This is going to be so difficult deciding which book to start with. Anne Michaels with Held. I think the book is just called Held, maybe a single time, but unsure at this moment in time. Anne Michaels has previously won the Women's Prize for Fiction. Margaret Atwood says Michaels shows us our humanity. 1917. Okay, I know where this is going. On a battlefield near the River Escaut, John lies in the aftermath of a blast, unable to move or feel his legs. Struggling to focus his thoughts, he is lost to memory. A chance encounter in a pub by a railway, a hot bath with his lover on a winter night, his childhood on a faraway coast, as the snow falls. In 1920, John has returned from war to North Yorkshire, near another river, alive but not whole. Reunited with Helena, an artist, he reopens his photography business and endeavours to keep on living. But the past erupts insistently into the present as ghosts begin to surface in his pictures, ghosts whose messages he cannot understand. So begins a narrative that spans 4 generations, moments of connection and consequence igniting and reigniting as the century unfolds, in luminous moments of desire, comprehension, longing, transcendence. The sparks fly upward, working their transformations decades later. Held is a novel like no other, by a writer at the height of her powers. It's affecting and intimately beautiful, full of mystery, wisdom, and compassion. That is Held. Okay, this one is called This Strange, Eventful History. It's by Claire Masud. Epic, truly a magnificent work about the post-war world and its unexpected legacies. Okay, we've got quite a few kind of post-war books going on here. So this time it's June 1940 as Paris falls to the Germans. Gaston, who is an honourable servant to France, devoted husband and father, and currently posted in the Navy, bids farewell to his beloved wife, aunt, and children, placing his faith in God that they will be reunited after the war. But escaping the violence of the cataclysm is not the same as emerging unscathed. The family will never again be whole. This is a work of breathtaking historical sweep and vivid psychological intimacy, charting this family's unfolding story as its members moved between Salonika and Algeria, the US, Cuba, Canada, Argentina, Australia, and France. Their journeys are shaped as much by a search for an elusive wholeness as by the imperatives of politics, faith, family, industry, and desire. Okay, next in our book a dozen of 13 books, we have Orbital by Samantha Harvey, described by Sarah Moss as beautiful in every aspect and Max Porter as awe-inspiring. The earth from here is like heaven. It flows with colour, a burst of hopeful colour. 6 astronauts rotate in their spacecraft above the Earth. They are there to collect meteorological data, conduct scientific experiments, and test the limits of the human body, but mostly they observe. Together they watch their silent blue planet, circling it 16 times, spinning past continents and cycling through seasons, taking in glaciers and deserts, the peaks of mountains and the swells of oceans. Endless shows of spectacular beauty witnessed in a single day. Okay, so interestingly we have another kind of spacey, astronomical book. Yet, although separated from the world, they cannot escape its constant pull. News reaches them of the death of a mother, and with it comes thoughts of returning home. They look on as a typhoon gathers over an island, and people they love, both in awe of its magnificence and fearful of its destruction. The fragility of human life fills their conversations, their fears, their dreams. So far from Earth, they have never felt more part or protective of it. They begin to ask, what is life without Earth? What is Earth without humanity? That is such a compelling blurb, such a compelling concept, and feels kind of like it's going to be life-affirming. Something that's going to make you really appreciate the life that we live and the Earth that we get to inhabit. Wow. This is such a cool long list. This is Playground by Richard Powers. She had the ocean, and the ocean absorbed all her hope and excitement, all her panic and pain and love into a place far larger than anything human. Oh, and Richard Powers, of course, is the author of The Overstory. That is like a huge book, a magisterial new novel from the Pulitzer Prize winning and New York Times best-selling author. 4 lives are drawn together in a sweeping, panoramic new novel from Richard Powers. They meet on the history-scarred island of Makati in French Polynesia, whose deposits of phosphorus once helped feed the world. Now it's been chosen for humanity's next adventure, a plan to send floating, autonomous cities out into the open sea. I feel like a broken record just saying wow, 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 but these all sound like incredibly unique reading experiences, and I'm just feeling very optimistic about this list, about this reading experience. I can't wait for this. And rounding out the book a dozen is Wild Houses by Colin Barrett. Strange and Beautiful, says Sally Rooney. Very funny and very moving, says Kevin Barry. Oh, it's a debut novel! That's so cool to see. This remarkable debut novel from the acclaimed prize-winning author of the short story collections Young Skins and Homesickness. When the reclusive Dev answers his door on Friday night, he finds Dol, Killian's bruised teenage brother, in the clutches of Gabe and Sketch. Jostled by his nefarious cousins and goaded by his dead mother's dog, Dev is unwillingly drawn into the Ferdia's revenge fantasy. Meanwhile, 17-year-old Nikki can't shake the feeling something bad had happened to her boyfriend, Dol. Hungover, reeling from a fractious night and plagued by ghosts of her own, Nikki sets out on a feverish mission to save Dol, even as she questions her future in Bellina. The beautifully crafted, thrillingly told story of 2 outsiders striving to find themselves as their worlds collapse into chaos and violence. Wild Houses is the long-anticipated first novel from award-winning and critically lauded writer Colin Barrett. Okay, so this is our Booker dozen. 13 books which have been longlisted for the Booker Prize this year. And what a list it is. This is going to be thought-provoking and challenging, I think, too. I think it's going to challenge the notions of what a book can be. And that's exactly why I love the Booker Prize, because I think those are the kind of books that it champions. Thank you to the Booker Prize for trusting me to share these books with you. I'm very, very excited and apparently surprisingly good at balancing them. I don't know where I'm going to begin. Let me know which one tickles your fancy the most or which of these books have just become your new reading list. I, for one, cannot wait to get cracking, so I'm going to finish this video so I can do exactly that. Thank you for watching. All the best. Stay in touch. Have the most wonderful day and I will see you next time. Bye-bye!